Coach Hardenbrook, how are you today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. It's cold outside, but not in here.
Cold?
Well, I think it is. It snowed yesterday.
It did a lot yesterday.
And there was a thunderstorm.
And it hailed.
Yeah.
And not a good day to be outside.
It was not a good day.
It was ugly, but our spring has been more like winter, and our winter was more like summer. And
Let's talk baseball.
if you want to.
You are still the coach, right?
Yep. As of now, they haven't fired me yet.
So how are things going with the team so far in the early season?
Some good, some not so good. I would say it depends on how you would define success and progress. If you're simply a wins and losses guy, not very good. 0-6 to start. I think we've only played one actually full complete game. 4 have ended in a mercy. 1 ended due to it getting darker, harder to see the ball. So in that sense of the term, not very good. And I'm a guy that doesn't like to lose. In terms of player development, in terms of are we improving, I would say a success.
Good.
A lot of young players coming along quickly. They've gotten thrown to the fire. A couple of them came right in and earned spots. But there's going to be some growing pains that go along with that. Just part of a process. I keep telling the kids, and something that I've been telling myself too more as of late is baseball's a game that tests your patience. It's a lot of mental struggle, just as much as it is a physical challenge. The saying has always been, you can fail in baseball 7 out of 10 times and still be in the Hall of Fame. And it's not something that, one good inning doesn't necessarily change a game for the positive. One bad inning, though, can change a game for the negative.
Right.
So it's tough. So the kind of that line of that room for error is a lot tighter, especially when you're a younger team. I did not realize just how young we were again until I go back and look, and we're 18 players on the roster, 17 active with 1 injury, but we haven't had a full roster yet for a game either. Whether it's injuries, whether it's been illness, whether it's playing on a weekend where there's other conflicts. So that hasn't done us any favors either. So we haven't done the best job playing the hand that we're dealt, but we're trying to get there, and it's still early. This point last year, we didn't have a game in. I think this was the week that we started playing games last year. So this year we're already 3 doubleheaders in. We've had 2 canceled, trying to get those rescheduled. But things will come around. When you have an injury, you hate it to be your number 1 pitcher. You hate it to be a guy that's the center of your offense. But we're trying to use that now as, let's not be down in the dumps. Let's use this as an opportunity for somebody to step up, fill those roles, get more playing time. And I do think we'll get there. I loaded up the schedule heavy with tough competition early, just because I wanted to test us, because we're up higher in the division due to the co-op with Engadine, and had 4 juniors back that were starting with 2 or 3 sophomores. So really wanted to, coming out of that spring break trip that we went on for the training stuff, come out of that, roll into some tough competition, and things just haven't quite been there at the start, but a long season. There's still 6 weeks left. Got our district draw the other day. That looks pretty favorable as far as the road to get through it. So we just got to keep getting better every day, and it doesn't get easier. We got the Sioux and Rudyard and Sheboygan coming up, but there's some chances for wins in there.
So let me ask you, how do you keep a young team like this motivated? Because if you're looking at wins, losses, it's easy to go, we're 0-6 at this point.
Yeah.
So how do you keep them motivated?
Good question. It's hard. and it's not just a baseball thing. Coach Dake faces a lot of the same stuff in softball. We see a lot of the same stuff. Winning and losing isn't a motivator the same way it used to be. Trying to keep kids engaged is harder.
Yeah.
Especially with a large group, because there's more downtime while you're waiting for your turn.
Right.
And unless you got 6 or 7 different coaches that can break these guys down into pairs, they don't get a lot of one-on-one time.
Yeah.
So you're kind of adjusting and trying to improve on the fly. And when you get into a game and they only get one at bat, it's tough to give them a good evaluation. It's tough for them to get feedback on the things that, here's what we need you to work on and here's what you need to do better. I had a kid the other day ask me why he's struggling batting right now. And I told him flat out, I go, you know what? I don't know. Because we've only seen he hit 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
In that sense, it is tough. It is tough because kids kind of get down in the dumps or question their confidence. The kids that aren't playing that particular game, when we struggle or we get beat, they're up, they want to play. And it's tough getting guys into the game in the 4th and 5th and 6th innings when you're not playing them. So, it's tough to motivate them with playing time because it's not guaranteed. When it's a young team and it's a varsity sport. Freshman kids don't typically play varsity sports unless they're absolutely ready. In our case, we've got freshmen playing a varsity sport because we need them to. So I think it's more individually based. I've kind of given the kids a little bit more reins and leadership on getting themselves ready, what they're trying to do pregame, not constantly structuring everything, to give them a little bit of freedom and a little room to breathe and get ready their own way individually. Because if what works for one might not work for the other. You got to that's a big thing about coaching. You got to figure out what buttons you can push with what kids and what makes them tick. And I have a lot of conversations with parents and interesting conversation actually with Mr. Parr, who's helping oversee our construction building project down there. He said a lot of the same challenges are crossing over to the classroom. How do you keep kids motivated? How do you keep them engaged? How do you get them excited and get them to see that they look at a lot of the frustrations or what's going wrong, the negative, but how do you get them to see and embrace the positive?
Right.
Because it's not a patient society anymore. This is a right now kind of in the moment type of era with these kids. So, and we're still seeing, I still think COVID has a lot to do with this. We're just now coming out of that phase where a lot of these kids had stuff taken away in their developmental years, as far as, a skill set, but also look at all the changes that they had to go through just in everyday life. And I think that's still an impact we're seeing as we're trying to fight back out of that you stay home, you do nothing, you get nothing type of era that we were in. And I still think we're turning that corner.
So let's switch gears.
Okay. A lot going on.
No, there is a lot going on, but how does the rest of the conference look?
The conference is always, on the baseball side, it's always been kind of a 3-horse race. And then the rest of us it's almost like a mini conference. The goal for the rest of the conference is let's beat the smaller group of 4, and then if somebody can come, you do well there. Now if you go up and you steal a game from the 2 big schools, the Sioux and Sheboygan, or the Rudyard, who's they're a big school type program with what they've accomplished and some of the things they've done and the way they run it. Those 3, the Sioux, Sheboygan, and Rudyard, depending on the year, they're always kind of duking it out, but you also hope they beat each other up. If Rudyard takes 2 from the Sioux, you hope Sheboygan comes in and takes 2 from Rudyard, or they all split with each other, and then it keeps you kind of in that conference race, because the big thing is our all-conference selections are slotted based on where you finish. So, the conference champion typically gets to nominate the player of the year, and then they get the most picks, and then all the way down the list, you get the scraps of what's left over. Again, I would think Rudyard, I would say the Sioux are probably the 2 favorites on the baseball side. Sheboygan's got some really good freshmen that have skipped JV and gone straight to varsity. I think by the end of the year, they'll be very tough. I think Pickford's got a good mix of youth and experience. I expect them to kind of maybe be that team that comes from the second half. So you got the three powerhouses. If you can beat those other three teams and kind of be that middleman, that's always a good spot. Pickford looks strong there. Brimley and us this year, and no St. Ignace. They didn't have enough kids for a team. So 6-team conference this year. Things will shake up next year. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the Sioux and Sheboygan leaving and no more Straits area conference. And right now it's Brimley, St. Ignace. I hear Cedarville's going to try and start back up a baseball program. Rudyard, maybe a Pelston. Maybe we sneak a Manistee in to see there. But yeah, kind of the realignment phase of the conference will be interesting, because I've been told next year with the projected new conference without the Sioux and Sheboygan, even us, we're expected to be right there in the mix with how many young guys we'll have coming back next year.
Right. All right. We will wrap this up.
Yeah, yep.
We'll do this again here maybe later this week, and we'll talk some football.
Yep.
And
Coach Klickner had a organizational staff meeting the other night, so he's already hitting the ground running after being named the new head coach, and starting to build up his plans for the summer workout season. The MHSA gives football teams 15 organized practices in the summer just to get guys conditioned to come back and be ready to go in the heat in August. Big track meet this weekend. One of the bigger ones on this end of the UP, the Webb Morrison Invitational, is over at Pickford, 10 a.m. on Saturday. If you're looking for something to do, that's all the EUP schools will be there. It's typically a great early season meet. And softball, Lady Indians are playing. Boys will play Pickford here at home on Thursday for our conference openers. And then I know the kids are out on the driving range. So hard to believe we're still just ramping up the spring sports season, but we're also 5 weeks away from tournament time. So things go fast and furious.
Fast in spring sports. All right. I know we're going to also try to have Coach Dakin here to talk softball. So
Come on down, though. Cheer them on. Check out some of the work at the baseball field if you're at the Charles Road Complex. Right now you'll see 2 frames for outer walls. We're going to build again through the weekend. And we'll have I forget the size on it. We had to basically start from scratch because the original person in charge of the project didn't believe in blueprints. So we've been kind of just trying to figure it out piece by piece with where we're going.
You're winging it, huh?
But we'll have a full-service concession building, the ability to do cold and hot food down there and drinks. And then the back half of that building, which would be the hillside up towards the Little League fields, the back half, if you're looking at the front, will be a storage facility for the softball team. They don't have any storage space at their field. So the girls, they need a spot to store some equipment and some of the things to work on their field. And then we will have a changing room in the back corner, the other half of the back half, for players to come in. There's no locker room facility. There's no indoor bathroom down there. So guys are changing in their cars if they've got to add on layers or something in a game. That changing room will be for players. They'll each have a locker in there that we're taking from the school. So we're preserving some pieces from there. And we'll put those in there so players will have a locker if they want to store stuff, or a sweatshirt in case it's cold, or a raincoat in case it gets a little damp. And then once the players come in and they get changed and they're ready for the game, we'll open that up to the umpires and give them a spot to kind of sit and chill and change and talk about what they need to talk about ahead of the game. So that'll be nice. A big project, and big thanks to Linus Parr for overseeing that project, and Jason Tokar, the man who thought he could get away from baseball, with helping me with some coaching stuff, kind of helping see that project, because that's been 2018. I think they started on this project, or started planning this project. It was one of the things that was left over on his list for certain reasons. They only ever got as far as the concrete pad and the foundation for him. So I got 2 walls up, and maybe the next coach will get the roof on it.
All right, we'll wrap this up. You've been listening to Sports Chat.
Sports Chat.
Here on M123.
NFL draft this weekend.
Don't want to miss that. Yeah. All right, we'll see you.